Taurus, hello, Amanda here. Welcome to Unseen Hands Healing. This is going to be your small story reading for February. Sorry, it's a little delayed. I've been very much under the weather, so happy to be back. All right, y'all, so for those of you who are new, for these small story readings, I choose a book off the shelf that seems to want to speak to you. I turn to a passage at random, and then I'll read that to you. And then we'll pull cards to further illuminate the story for you. Okay, so the book that wants to speak to you today, the passage is from Lady Oracle by Margaret Atwood. And at this point in the passage, we meet the main character as she's walking through a museum. And here we go. We went down a staircase bordered with sphinxes, water shooting from their nipples, and wandered from grotto to grotto. At the end, we came to Diana of Ephesus, the guidebook said, rising from a pool of water. She had a serene face, perched on top of a body shaped like a mound of grapes. She was draped in breasts from neck to ankle, as though afflicted with a case of yaws. Little breasts at the top and bottom, big ones around the middle. The nipples were equipped with spouts, but several of the breasts were out of order. I stood licking my ice cream cone, watching the goddess coldly. Once I would have seen her as an image of myself, but not anymore. My ability to give was limited. I was not inexhaustible. I was not serene. Not really. I wanted things for myself. Okay, Taurus. I think we're looking at somebody that's realizing the resources that you have available to you are, like the passage says, not inexhaustible. And perhaps you're feeling like your resources have been tapped to the point of like, okay, you know what? I'm done just giving out of every orifice, like nurturing others ad infinitum. I'm ready to do things that I want to do, to maybe be a little selfish or be what I would have once considered selfish instead of just serene in my constant, overflowing, abundant, giving energy. Interesting, Taurus. This seems to fit your energy. So now we're going over to the shadow deck, El Goliath shadow deck. See if we can get a little more out of this story. So far, the readings for this small story, this round of small stories, seem to be speaking the language of Mercury's retrograde, okay? It's like Small Stories Mercury Retrograde Edition. When Mercury goes retrograde, which it does a couple times a year, so it's nothing to be super scared of, it's essentially, as its movement slows in the sky, we have an opportunity to slow down ourselves and reflect or maybe even rethink some of the elements that Mercury presents to us. Mercury presides over the mind, thought processes, verbal communication processes, electronic communication, the ways that we manifest and make magic in the world. Okay? All right, let's pull some cards. We're going to pull 3 cards here for Taurus for this small story Mercury retrograde edition. 1, 2, and 3. Here we go. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Boom. Beautiful. Clear as day. Love a clear message. Ace of Swords, the Empress, and the 4 of Swords. I mean, whoop, there it is. This is exactly the passage we just read, okay? I'll explain why. Here's the Ace of Swords revelation. It's a revelation that's leading to some sort of transformation. So swords are ruled by Mercury. The sword element, the element of air, rules the mind, mental processes, verbal communication, okay? The ways that we think and the ways that we express our thoughts in connection with others, the messages that we internalize and the messages that we send out. Incoming messages, outgoing messages, that kind of flow is all Mercury. That's all that air element. And here we see the snake, which suggests to me transformation because of the way snakes shed their skin. So there's some sort of, Mercury retrograde seems to be inviting you into a new, because aces are new energy, new potential, new beginnings, a new way of thinking or communicating about your nurturing energy that is going to really transform you, or has the potential to really transform you here, Taurus. And I say nurturing energy because we have the Empress. It says the alchemical mother, which is really beautiful too, because Mercury is associated with alchemy, the alchemist. The alchemical mother here with the Empress. And that mothering energy talks about that nurturance, Taurus. We literally see a baby growing inside of a mother, and I'm seeing this for you today, Taurus, as sort of like, this is the X-ray version of what's going on, and we're actually seeing that this thing that you're devoting all of your energy to, it could be a child, but it could also be just like the way your caretaking energy tends to manifest in general. I'm actually seeing it as sucking the life from the mother, because we're just seeing the like bones, okay? We're seeing the ways that this is actually draining your resources, draining your energy to be caretaking in this particular way of just like, yes, I have endless teats for you all, you know, like I have endless amounts of sustenance within myself that you can all come and drink. And it's like, what was interesting in that passage is how like some of the breasts were out of order. And I think it's kind of like, this is the revelation that's now coming to you, that you are perhaps ready to share with others, that like, hey, mama's out of order here. You know, like the caretaker in me, the nurturer in me is out of order. And I need to take a rest. Four of Swords. It says the sacred space. Retreating into the sacred space to rest and recover. I'm seeing this rabbit who's had a shock to the nervous system, if that resonates with you. A shock to the nervous system, and realizes they need some time to come out of that paralysis for the nervous system to come back online. It's going to take rest and recovery, a little bit of time here, and a little bit of nurturance. This is very actually like Venusian energy, which I associate with Taurus. Taurus being ruled by Venus, okay? So it's like, give yourself all of the earthly pleasures and sensual delights. Surround yourself with flowers that you love. Surround yourself with the kind of care that you're constantly giving others. Give yourself this mental space. Give yourself this rest and recovery time and space. You've got to carve this out for yourself. That's what I'm seeing. Not only are you having the revelation that this is happening, but you need to then be able to communicate that to others in order for you to really get the space that you need. Okay. All right, Taurus. I want to get you a little portable fortitude here. This beautiful deck by Karina Dross. Before I do, you should know that we are going to take this reading into an extended, okay? I'm going to use the Dark Exact Tarot and a couple other oracle decks to really expand on this message, to see what exactly is this revelation and how do you communicate it? What's the situation that's been draining you, and how do you get back into your status as like nurturer without being drained? And what kind of rest do you need? How do you carve out that space and time for yourself? So we're going to dive deeper into that energy. If that sounds interesting to you, stick around. There'll be a preview of this extended reading at the end of this video, so you can see if it's resonating. If it is, click the link in the description below, and that's going to take you straight to Vimeo, where you can view this extended reading instantly. All right, Taurus. Okay, let's get you a little portable fortitude. What is the fortitude that Taurus needs for this Mercury retrograde? Aha. You got two. What have you received here? Taurus, look at this. Protection from city planning. And protection from Puritans. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck. I love this so much. So there's something about protection from city planning, you know, like city planning could be literal for you, maybe. But what I'm seeing more for you, Taurus, here is this idea of feeling boxed in. I'm seeing this like house on legs, being sort of overwhelmed by all of this really big energy. And also like city planning talks to me of like, especially the way cities are planned in modern times today. They're mostly planned by people who have the money, which is like white men, you know, white men in power. The people who are in power do the city planning. And so their cities are planned through a very specific and like narrow lens that doesn't necessarily reflect the needs of everyone in the city. All right. And so I just also want to share that I'm getting that specifically from the work of Katrina Johnston Zimmerman, who actually is a city planner here in Philadelphia, who advocates for cities being planned by women, by people of color, by people who don't necessarily make up the ones with the power and the money, but who make up the bulk of the population. Okay. So there's something here about who's calling the shots in your life here, Taurus, and are the shots that they are calling, the plans that they are laying for the structure of your life, is that reflective of your needs? You know, like what institutions are you part of, be it marriage, be it a job, be it like your association with a larger entity here that maybe is not laying plans with your needs in mind. That's what I'm feeling from this. And then I'm actually seeing you like busting out of that joint. Protection from Puritans, even if that's the Puritan within you, Taurus. I think you're being called to rebel. I think you're being called to put on the hat of the rebel, to freaking get on the hog and be like, you know what? I'm out. You know what? I'm going to go do what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit the road. I'm going to bust out of this joint. I'm going to bust out of these boxes that you're trying to put me in because it's not meeting my needs. It's actively draining me. I'm out. I love that energy for you, Taurus. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid to speak up, to speak out, to go against the grain. Even if that means you have to fight the Puritan that's inside of you and the city planner that's inside of you, boxing yourself in. It's like, to what extent is this happening because of the people around you and the environment that you're in? And to what extent is this happening because of your own internalized beliefs about how you have to be with other people? Okay. All right, let's dive into this deeper now. If you'd like to join me over on Vimeo, again, click the link and I'll see you over there. If not, Taurus, thank you so much for joining me here. If you enjoyed this reading, please do click the like button, leave me a comment, let me know how it's resonating with you. I'd love to hear from you. All right, Taurus, happy February, happy Mercury retrograde. I'll talk to you soon. Earth energy, that's you, Taurus. And I'm seeing this as like expansion, being ready to grow out of the narrow confines of your world. Sometimes we keep ourselves in patterns that are detrimental to us so that we don't have to go through the discomfort of growing beyond our comfort zone. And Taurus, I think you can feel, and the readings on my channel for some time now have been talking about this energy of expanding out of your den, you know, like going out of your comfort zone. And it's interesting here that we're seeing your discomfort in this reading. Sometimes you got to get really, really uncomfortable in order to expand to a place of abundant comfort. Hope that's making sense here. Healing, that kind of growth and expansion and revealing what's going on for you, taking this space to recover, replenish your energy, find a completely new experience of abundance before you go back into helping others. That's the healing that you need. And notice how you're not healing alone. You're healing with the help of others.